there's a lot of discussion. Obviously, bringing everything up to date was the most important because it was a long process. But um, it the process going through that is not only to make it fair, but is to make a number that is actually working with the 8 teams per side formula. So, um, like it was tough to take the point that you get in the season, your standing in your division, also the fact that teams were on the verge of making the playoff, and kind of mixing everything with an amount of team that would have make it work. And 24 has always been the best number, unless you decide that the season stops and you take the first 8 teams of both conference. So there's a lot of talk back and forth. I was trying to bring our team up to date. Some guys have ideas. They share it with me. That I was able to share with the board. So these things of that nature that was kind of discussed between me and the rest of my teammates. Does it answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Rob Rossi with The Athletic. Rob, you can unmute yourself.
I think I did. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Hope everybody's well. I guess my first question before I get to the second one is, do you have any reservations about playing given your sort of medical history?
Not at all. I mean, I had my fair share of questions, and they all been answered. And certainly, I can say that I would be safe to play.
Great. That's great news. Secondly, guys are going to be in a unique situation where most of them have not skated for the longest time in their lives. You're going to be going into sort of an individual workout mode and then a training camp, and then right into like the highest level of competition. How do you, as an athlete, prepare yourself for that, knowing what's at stake in terms of a chance to win the Stanley Cup, but it not being anything like you've had a chance to prepare for before?
Well, I think when you go into training camp, teams really trust their players to do the work during the season, which is training hard, get stronger, better conditioning. And as you get in training camp, they actually work two things. They try to work collective stuff, and also they try to bring you up to speed. So I think in those phase 2 informal skates, I think it's going to be up to the players to actually ramp up their work and make sure they're able to really simulate a conditioning of style of a game. And when training camp is going to start, I think coaches will really focus on the collective side of thing, because you don't have that much time, like you said, and you're going to get right into it. So you want to make sure that your team game is top notch. So I think it's going to be really up to the players to do the work in that phase 2, on the ice, and off the ice.
Mike DeFabo with the Post-Gazette.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for making the time for us. I do appreciate it. From what I understand, I guess one of the things that still needs to be ironed out is the format for this first and second rounds, the rounds of 16 and 18. There's discussion whether it's going to be 5-game series or 7-game series. I'm curious, as a player rep, just kind of what's your opinion on that, and what kind of discussions have you had with your teammates about those specific points?
I obviously I talked I talked to a bunch of guys, and one thing that comes up often is the fact that everybody's used to the best of 7. You know how it's structured. You know how it feels if you lose the first 2 or you win the first 2, or you kind of know all the scenarios that can go through a best of 7. I don't think there's any players in this league right now that played back in the day on the 3-on-3 best of 5. So I think it's just an easier thing to just put a best of 7, because everybody knows what to expect, and you have no excuses of not being prepared for that.
Wes Crosby with NHL.com.
Hey, Chris, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. When we spoke to Jim Rutherford yesterday, he said that the Lemieux facility should be available sometime within the next week and a half. Do you have a general plan of when you figure to be back there?
I don't know like a special date, but obviously it's something I want to be part of. I know like the Penguins always put us in the best situation and to succeed and to be safe. So obviously I think the right play is to come back and practice within our facility with our staff and our players.
We'll go back to Seth Rohrbach.
Chris, the NHL and the NHLPA haven't always agreed on a lot of matters, but on this, it seems like they're working together very well. Whereas baseball, there's a lot of arguments. Why do you think you guys have worked so well on this issue together?
Well, I mean, I think everybody wants the same goal here. It's to grow the game and make sure that we make our sport proud. So, but at the same time, I think every question about the safety, which is the most important thing for everybody. I think that's what's been the focus on, and I think the NHL and the NHLPA agrees on that. So, but we both have the main goals here, and we want what's best for our sports and the safety of people around us.
Mike DeFabo.
Hey, Chris. As a part of Tuesday's presentation, Gary Bettman said that Pittsburgh is being considered as one of the hub cities. I'm curious, from your point of view, do you feel that there are any advantages to playing on your home ice, even if it's in front of no fans, or do you feel like it's a level playing field because there are no fans to begin with?
I mean, I think you can use the fact that you're at home. But I think from what I heard, guys, even if they play in their own city, they would have to be put in a hotel away from everybody. But maybe the fact that your boards, your building better, the way it's set up, I guess. But I don't think there's much advantage,
Michelle Crecchiolo, PittsburghPenguins.com.
Hanger, I got the softball for you as always, but I mean, I know there's still a long, long way to go, but just how does it feel to even just have a little bit of forward progress with the announcement that came the other day?
Oh, it's great. I mean, the guy's been like sitting home, not really. They don't really know what to expect, and when you have a plan, obviously that there's, like you said, there's a long way. But if you have a plan established, it's already a good sign. So we just now have to make sure that guys are getting ready in the safest environment possible and get ready to play.
Rob Rossi.
Hey, Chris. And I forgot to say thanks for doing this. You're one of three guys that have won, three with the Penguins. Guys are all at the point in your careers where I think probably every opportunity is precious. Knowing that, do you look at this situation and think it's a better or worse chance than maybe a normal situation, given that you've been through a lot in the playoffs before and there's an experience level there that some of these teams just may not have had, even if it's a different type of experience?
I mean, we're always gonna bank on guys like Sid, Gino, Matt, that's got tons of success in the playoffs. So obviously experience is a big factor. In this case, though, it's so different. Guys are really starting from scratch. So there's no momentum going in. I think it's like there's no favorites. What would I say? Everybody's starting equal, so I think it's a great opportunity for every single team, So I don't think it's a better one or a worse one for any teams. I think the fact that we'll be in a stoppage for maybe 4 months before we start really playing games, there's no really advantage for anyone.
Wes Crosby.
Hey, Chris, kind of going off of that, looking ahead to that matchup with Montreal, despite them being that that 12th team. Just what challenges do you think they present, given the fact that it is kind of a even playing field there?
Well, I mean, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. Like every single team in this league is a good matchup, and we know it because all year we had to battle against teams, and it didn't matter where they were standing in the league. Every night is a good matchup, and Montreal obviously are a young team. They're fast. A lot of energy around their forwards, and people know that they have a great goaltender in Carey Price. So, but as far as our team, I think we have to focus on just be better and trying to get fit for the challenge. And at the end of the day, I think it's a great opportunity. We battle all year. We know what it takes to win and battle through a tough opposition. So I think we'll just do that in the postseason and try to keep rolling.
We'll take a couple more here. Seth, go ahead.
Chris, how much concern is there for guys who are pending free agents and guys who might need games to add to their service time to get to free agency, et cetera? How much concern do you think there is from those players based on what this plan might mean for their future in that regard, if that makes sense?
You mean the fact that they like the last this playoff format is going to be their last kind of chance to show what they can do? You mean?
Yeah, something like along those lines.
I mean, I think. That's tough because you can have a great season and have tough playoff. It's going to be it would have been the same debate. So I think for free agency, it's always it's you always get what you did in the previous year or in the playoffs. So it's a tough question for me to answer. Like as a GM, you have to trust what you're going to get from those players, and usually you reward them if you have confidence in them. So, but certainly with not knowing where the cap's going to be, it's going to be tough to really predict what's going to happen with free agency.
Mike DeFabo.
Chris, the vote that you guys took on Friday was a significant vote and a nice step towards returning to play. But I'm sure that all of the questions aren't answered and all of the details aren't ironed out before the players are ready to completely head back. As you've been talking with your teammates and also with all the other player reps, are there particular concerns that have been brought up that you feel like might be stumbling blocks or areas especially of concern that players have pointed to that you think might need to be ironed out before players agree to come back?
Yeah, well, obviously the safety of the players, safety of the people that will be traveling and be part of the group that goes there. That's the number one thing. Guys want to be secure there, and I think the families do. It's a situation that it's not a road trip for 7 days or 10 days like we were used to in the season. Guys going to be away from their family for an extended period of times, and their kids. So I think there's a lot of things to really focus on this part of it.
And then Rob, go ahead.
Chris, in your experience, how much does the environment of the in arena with fans really affect performances by players and teams? And without that, is there any way to sort of replicate it if it does? In the emotional, not replicate the noise, the emotion of it all.
I mean, it's going to be so different. But honestly, like, guys will get used to it quick. They're gonna be in the zone. They're gonna be focusing. It's gonna be so different. But eventually, after maybe a period or two, or maybe a game, you're gonna get used to it. So things shouldn't affect, I think, the guys at all. You know what you're playing for, and your focus should be mainly on that.
Okay, and then before we wrap up, I just have two pre-submitted questions. I know you talked about Montreal a little bit, but is there something about the way they play or an asset that they have that people who aren't players or coaches might not recognize?
A lot of skill, and they're really fast. That's something that we've seen in the last few years. We know that they traded a lot of guys away and try to get really young and try to rebuild. So um, they have tons of skill and speed. So and it's probably something people don't really appreciate appreciate enough from them.
Then the last one is, how does Alex feel about his nomination for the top team video in the NHL Fan Choice Awards?
I mean, he's laughing. He would like to win. Obviously, he's sending all his friends little videos and text to vote for him. You think it's pretty funny, I guess.